Howdy, howdy. This is Richard Hay, and I'm here with Jody Batum and the Dixie Chicken, and we're super early for the tournament. Not, but maybe because of me. And so anyway, we were going to record what we think is going to be a super popular Texas 42 video going over the official N42PA tournament rules. So if anyone ever asks what are the rules, they can point to this video and watch the two of us yahoos going over the printed rules from the website. Alright, so we're going to start off by just saying some bullshit rules. For example, it's a common practice to when you sit down to just pull your dominoes and then say who has the 5-5. Don't do that. That's
not true.
That's not true. That's not one of the rules. So we are going to start reading the actual rules. Rule 1. Rule 1. The only bids, also contracts, that are allowed are bidding in a suit that is blanks through sixes, are bidding follow me, or bidding doubles or trump. We do not allow Nello, sevens, plunge, splash, or follow me with doubles as a suit of their own, which Scott Kemp refers to these as trash variants. So essentially rule 1 is that we're playing straight 42, not these other games.
Yeah, the highest amount of skill.
Right.
Is what the intention is there.
Well, and a purist will just go bananas if they have a textbook 36 hand and they get overbid because someone went Nello and then again because then if you allow Nello, like every other hand is Nello. So that's rule 1. So rule 2.
Rule 2. All 4 players draw for high domino to determine who shakes first. After the first game of a multi-game match, the losing team gets first shake. So only those 2 players need to draw. The shaker, also known as the last bidder, must wait and draw last. The others at the table may draw their dominoes in any order. That's a little confusing, and what that basically means is that you shake the dominoes in the very first match. The first bidder, all right, is the one that drew the highest domino, the first team that shakes, gets that. And when you're playing multiple games to see who wins, like 2 out of 3, the team that lost, they get the win the shake.
The thing that's not said here is that the shake shifts every hand.
That's right.
And that it goes in a clockwise fashion.
That's correct.
So that I shake, and then the person to my left shakes, and then the person to their left shakes, and so on. It doesn't say that in the rule, but that is the way it is.
All right.
All right. So rule 3. The bidder has the option to single or double stack on hands of 1 mark or higher. This is the rule for N42PA tournaments, but hosts of other tournaments may choose to only allow one or the other. The opposing team may, if desired, set the direction of the stack after the first trick is played. So that has to do with stacking the dominoes in a multi-mark bid.
Correct.
So then, Jody, rule 4.
Any N42PA hosted tournament will not be forced bid. This means that the final bidder has the option to pass. The shake then would rotate to the next player, and no team gets a mark since all 4 people passed.
Right. So rule 5. Any reneges not following suit will cost the team who commits the infraction 1 mark. It's loss of mark. Or additional marks if the bid is higher than 42. So if it's 2 marks, you lose 2 marks. If it's 3 marks, you lose 3 marks, so on. This includes leading out of turn. So if your partner thinks that they won the trick and they didn't notice you trumped it and then they lead a domino, that is a misplay. That is loss of mark. Because by showing the domino, they may change what you play, and then you can't put that back in the box.
Some mistakes cannot be outdone, so it's immediate loss of mark. And those 2 mistakes are not following suit and playing a domino out of turn.
Leading out of turn.
And in N42, we have a third one. It is if you touch 1 domino and then play another.
Right.
All right.
That's a loss of mark.
That's a loss of mark.
Yes, so you must play the first domino you touch, so sit on your hands, be deliberate, measure twice, cut once, however you want to say it. That is rule 6.
All right, that's rule 5.
Rule 5, that's what I meant.
Rule 6. When a domino is accidentally knocked over, the player must leave that domino face up in front of their hand for everyone at the table to see. They must play that domino at the first possible opportunity without reneging, which includes being forced to lead that domino if they happen to be in the lead. So if a domino accidentally turns over, you have to play it at the first available opportunity.
There is some discussion about modifying this rule
That's true.
because there are situations where someone like slams their hand down and it knocks over one of their opponent's dominoes. Should they be punished for that? Other times where they flick it and it ricochets and it knocks over one of their opponent's dominoes and the thing didn't get knocked over by you, it got knocked over by your opponent. Should you have to play that domino because they knocked it over?
The official ruling is yes, you are penalized.
Official ruling is, but essentially this is not without some debate.
We're trying to change it.
Exactly. Okay, so rule 7. On bids of 42 or higher, if no player is allowed to pick up and look underneath the stack to see a previously played domino, you must use the power of memory. Also, smartphone pics of every level of the set, not allowed.
Smartphone pics are played.
I'm looking at TikTok. No. No. To determine which dominoes have already been played. You have to remember from your mind, not from your...
Generally speaking, once a domino goes into the center of the table, it's not touched again.
The whole point of stacking them is to basically make
Yeah.
you have to remember.
That's right. Number 8, dominoes must be placed in a 4-3 or a 3-4 format once you draw from the shake. Once the bidding starts, you can't rearrange your dominoes, for the rest of the hand. This includes pushing your dominoes together as the hand plays out. The initial placement of dominoes must be used for the remainder of the game.
And this is really hard for players that usually play home dominoes and are fiddlers, who just like to fiddle with their dominoes the whole time. And this is saying that is not allowed in tournament 42.
I've never seen this called.
Yeah, I've seen people fiddle, and
I've seen you can't do that, stop it, but I've never seen anyone say, lots of arguing.
you know so I would say that calling someone on this would be relatively ticky-tacky, but I have
Some
seen
people would say chicken.
I've seen people warn people.
Yes, and you can warn them.
You could, but not call it, and I don't think I've ever seen it called either.
Oh, I pushed my domino in. What am I playing?
Yes.
Wow. But it's a rule. All right.
Okay, rule 9. You may ask who bid or what the bid was during any phase of the game. However, you may not ask what trump is once the game has commenced. Doing so will result in a loss of mark. You may also ask who shook during the game without penalty. And the whole idea of that is just so that you trump a trick and you're trying to remind your partner that you trumped the trick, so you ask what's trumped so that they remember it's ones and they see that you played a 1. That's not okay.
Basically, you can ask anything you want as long as it doesn't have the word Trump in it.
That's right.
You know what's interesting is what about, and I just thought of this, whose lead is it? Because sometimes someone won the trick and they don't know that they were the one that won it. And you have this awkward silence that goes around
They sit
and
there waiting.
around. And then they're like,
Oh, is it me?
is it me? All right, and you can't say anything like it's your lead partner.
right.
Some people allow it, tournament, but it's very interesting. They don't have that.
Rule 10.
Rule 10. Once the first trick has been completed in a hand, you cannot ask what trump is.
Similar to last one.
Similar to the last one. Be sure everyone at the table knows what trump is before the first trick is played. I like to say it twice. If any player needs to ask what trumps are after the bidder declares trump,
Some people are really mousy about declaring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
bids are ones. Yeah.
I mean-
Before the completion of the first trick, he should say something like, I didn't hear you.
what are trumps?
What are trumps?
Right.
Rather
Right there on
than
the first trick.
Inquiring any specific suitor's trump in the middle of the game.
Right. Just say what is trump. Yeah.
On any
on
trick,
the first trick.
once a domino has been played, you may also not ask who played it.
So this is also somewhat under debate, especially if someone like throws a domino out and then they get all scrambled up and you can't tell who played what, and it makes it tough whenever you should be allowed to know who played what. Not everyone just lays them down gently in front of them and then clearly marks that I'm the one that played this. Okay, so number 11, bidding out of turn. If someone accidentally bids out of turn, shame on you. They cannot raise or lower that bid once the bidding restarts. For example, let's say the second bidder thinks that he's the first bidder and bids 31. The table informs him that he is not the first bidder, but the second bidder. Now, if the first bidder bids 31, the second bidder cannot bid higher than 31 and must pass. On the other hand, if the first bidder passes, then the second bidder must still bid 31, they can't change it. This applies to anyone bidding out of turn.
Absolutely correct.
The worst case is when you're the last bidder and you bid 30, and then you're almost certainly going to end up passing.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead. Rule 12.
Pausing during play. If a player intentionally pauses to let their partner know they have more than one of a suit during play, they've got options. That is considered a tell and is cheating. For example, if the bidder calls blanks as trump and leads to double blank, and their partner takes a long time to play a small blank, and then later in the hand has another blank, then that is intentional. And that intentional pause is equivalent to table talk.
Some newbies do this on accident.
Well, that's not intentional when they're a newbie. Totally agree.
Yeah, how do you decide?
Yeah, stupidity is totally allowed
Totally
at any
allowed.
level.
Exactly.
In a tournament.
I'm noodling on what domino to... Oh, I had 2. I didn't even think about that. Okay, fine.
Water blanks.
Fine, okay. 13. Bidding with dominoes face down. Players are not allowed to bid blind with their dominoes face down. So an example of this would be you're down 5-2. You're trying to bid 2 marks so that your partner will bid 3 marks, and one way to indicate that is I don't really have 2 marks, I'm just bidding 2 marks so you'll bid 3. I'm bidding with the dominoes face down, I don't even know what I have, you must overbid me. That's a signal, that's not allowed.
Correct.
Rule 14.
During the bidding phase, you must only announce your bid without giving more information, which is to say you just bid the number, like pass or 31. You're not allowed to add commentary like, I've got nothing over here, partner, I pass. Or, I'll go 30 because I think I can help you, partner. Or talking across the table with the other phrase in combination with the number bid. All right, during play at any time, including the bidding phase of the hand. Remember, just bid the number. Don't add any commentary to it.
No John Madden.
No John Madden.
No John Madden, yes. Okay, so that during the bidding phase, yes.
So that's 15.
That's 15. Deliberate slow play by the team in the lead will not be allowed in timed games. So there are times where they say, okay, we're going to allow 30 minutes a match, and that's 3 games, or 90 minutes a match, and so you're in game 3, and essentially the time is running out. For example, if the team in game 3 is leading 5-0, and the tournament director announces the timed round ends in 2 minutes, the leading team cannot deliberately play slowly to prevent the losing team from catching up. So I can't bid 2 marks and him bid 3 marks, and then let's do that again twice just to see if we can catch the 5-0 winner.
That happens.
It does happen. Sometimes they, where they normally would. A good way to avoid being accused of this is to just always play the same measure. Like one Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Just always play at that same tempo, whether the game is timed or not.
Right. 16.
Is a too long didn't read. Sum it up.
Deliberate slow play by a team is poor sportsmanship.
Yes.
All right. It can be called for sportsmanship.
That's still 15.
Don't do it. Right. 16. Declaring a laydown. The bidder can announce to the table if they have the rest of the tricks and will make their hand to save time.
I have pulled the sword for the stone. I am the king of all things.
However, if the opposing team can demonstrate in any way that the other team can go set, the bidding team will forfeit the hand and lose the mark. Only the dominoes that are actually in each player's hand can be used to challenge a laydown. A potential renege is not a possible challenge. A good example would be if the bidder has 2 big trumps and a double 5. The opponent has 1 small trump. The bidder's partner is in the lead, and the bidder declares that they have the rest and lays a hand over. The opponents say that the partner might have let a 5 off, leading the bidder to play the double 5. The opponent could have trumped the trick and won it. Be careful to make sure you truly have the rest of the tricks before you declare a laydown.
Right. There was only a 500 comment post about this on the Facebook group, where about like the hypothetical pie in the sky theoretical setting mechanism. That was they changed the language to this rule to say you have to have the dominoes to set them.
That's correct.
But if you do have the dominoes to set them, then you do want to be deliberate when you lay them down. Okay, so rule 17. Talking across the table is cheating and against the rules. I hope everyone is listening to this rule. Anyone that has ever done this is listening to this rule. Anyone who ever plays someone that is doing this listens to this rule. Talking across the table includes, but is not limited to, any kind of communication or signaling that is private to the two people doing the communicating. If there is a conversation beforehand to set up certain actions to mean certain things, then that is cheating. This rule applies to physical cues, bidding practices, indication of doubles or lack thereof, an optional placement of dominoes after the shuffle, the way you orient the domino when you play it. I mean, anything that's signaling something to your partner that the opponents are not aware of, that's cheating. For example, if my partner and I agree that if I bid 32, it means that I have the double 5. This is a pre-conversation, and it's considered cheating when implemented. The tournament director shall have the authority to interpret what evil lurks in the hearts of men and find these people and this. It's hard to detect. But
like a good paladin.
Yes, exactly, right. But don't do it, it's bad practice.
18, players not directly involved with the game may not make comments about the game during play, even to call attention to a renege. So if you're watching two people play in tournament play, you have to be quiet. You can't say one thing whatsoever. Don't be an influencer.
I may have violated
just
this
be a
rule
watcher.
5 or 6 times.
That's the letter of the law. We have too many people, all right, trying
Peanut gallery.
To be a peanut gallery.
Yeah. Rule 19. The tournament director host has the authority to rule on any match and also has the authority to ban a team from competing with just cause. An example would be kicking a team out of the tournament for cheating and or egregious behavior deemed inappropriate for the tournament. This can include fighting, being rude, disrespectful of others, cussing, threatening others, damaging property, inebriation, stealing, really anything where everyone is like, oh, well, that's gotta go. Roll 20.
Any questions during a game? Please stop play and get the tournament director or host to come to your table. It is best to let the tournament director or host help to rule on a play in question. If you are unsure of a rule or need better clarification, always go to the tournament director. You don't want to play, stop, argue, and then keep playing, and then ask for a ruling afterwards.
Yeah, that's not going to go.
Never happen.
That's never going to happen.
If you want a ruling and you feel that the play is not going fairly, all right, because they're interpreting the rule improperly, get an expert at the table to make the ruling right then and right there. And then whatever they decide, all right,
that's the rule.
That's the rule, and you go with it.
Because they're the tournament director.
Because they're the tournament director.
Rule 21. This is the last one. Blackjack. The tournament director shall have the authority to make reasonable accommodations to the rules so that a handicapped player may play without the rules causing undue hardship. So a good example of this is Blind Mike. There's a couple of visually impaired players that play in the N42PA, and they're allowed to touch their dominoes, so that the rules that say you can't fiddle or touch the dominoes, they don't apply to them, because that's how they're able to see the dominoes. And they're pretty quick about it. You know, they go through and they touch the dominoes, and then they're able to bid effectively. And then also they ask that when you play a domino that you announce verbally what it is you played so that they can hear what everyone's playing. Now, they're not allowed to look at this, they can't see the stack of tricks that have already been played, they just have to remember it. So it's still amazing, even with just people verbally saying that they remember what dominoes got played and what dominoes didn't get played. But so it's still it's very difficult for them. But those are reasonable accommodations.
It's nice that we have expectations to allow everyone the ability to play. All right, even the blind.
Right. And maybe, I don't think we have any deaf people that I know.
I played with one, and we had to play with hand signals.
Okay.
You know, to say 31. Not Italian. Not Italian, sir.
Right, exactly. No, that was blanks.
That was blanks.
Yeah, right, of course.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's the rules. And this is a 20-minute video, but that's okay, because we did make it longer, specifically because a lot of people ask, what are the tournament rules? These are the tournament rules. And we are given, the rules in the chicken, which is a Dixie, which is a domino dojo, and well respected and known. So there's only a few of those left. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and N42 have a good life.
See you at the tables.